Dark Souls has some elitist players who see the base game as perfect, at least the first half. But if there's one thing FromSoft fans enjoy, it is new Souls content. Because of this, any form of mod videos you see are typically a single total conversion mod that brings a new experience. However, Dark Souls Remastered has nearly 500 mods, so I went through them and made a mod list to play the game with. I had one goal in mind: make Dark Souls Remastered feel more like a remastered. I ended up with 15 mods to beat Dark Souls with, so let us go over them. If any of the mods interest you, I'll have a link to them in the description, but let me go over the rating system. Each mod is graded with Moonlight Great Swords. 0 Great Swords means the mod is unplayable, and 5 Great Swords means the mod is amazing. Now with the rating system out of the way, let me give these mods reviews starting from top to bottom. This one is a must-have. Everybody knows that feeling of booting up Dark Souls late at night and feeling like you just got flashbanged in CSGO.
It's me.
This mod removes that with a wonderful dark mode logo. 5 Great Swords. The first time booting up the game, this intro was incredible, but when interacting with the menu, there are some visual issues. There are these black bars around the options and take away from the mod. This mod is obviously not a necessary one, so in the end, I gave it 3 Great Swords. This mod replaces the Bonfire on load screens of a cute Nito chibi. It is absolutely adorable. 5 Great Swords. There's another visual mod with this one that overpowers it, but all this mod does is update the texture quality. This mod remains faithful to the base game, so it can be hard to notice. With textures, that is a good thing. You never notice good textures because they are good. You notice bad textures because they are bad and stick out. 5 Great Swords for these textures. This mod is what made the game look so drastically different. First, I want to clarify, this is not a reshade. A reshade injects post-processing into a game, and I'm personally not a fan of it. Dark Souls visual overhaul I am a huge fan of, but there are some issues. Some areas can be devoid of color and atmosphere, like in Orlando. All the light in the City of the Gods seems to have disappeared, but there is another mod that could help. Someone made a mod that takes the original mod and brightens everything up. I will have that linked as well, but I have not tested it out. There are other graphic bugs like texture flickering that I believe are from this mod, but I could be wrong. What makes this mod great for me is the atmosphere it can set when done right. Quelaag's boss fight is a great example of this. During the cutscene, it is dark as it should be this far down in a cave. Coming down the staircase, first you see light and then Quelaag. It creates such a different vibe and I'm here for it. Because of all the issues, I can't give this mod 5 Great Swords but instead 4. This mod changes the UI of the game to a more minimal style. The health is similar to later Soul entries, removing the dashes that add nothing. Obviously, the segmented health bar can be useful, but my personal preference is more towards the simpler health bar. If you don't have the same preference as me, this mod does have a version with the dashes. Another change it brings is the equipment in the bottom left. Instead of always having the 4 slots visible, the items that are equipped appear while empty slots remain invisible. This decreases clutter, and I still find it just as understandable as the original. Lastly, this mod changes the inventory, and I hate the way it was done. I enjoy the lines for the inventory, but they remove them. I feel like it creates this visual of one solid mess. Without prior knowledge, I don't think I could have read the menu easily. There are also other HUD mods similar to this mod that could improve on the inventory, so look around if you are interested. The inventory UI brings this mod to 4 Great Swords. Dark Souls has terrible audio mixing at times, and I wanted to try this mod to see if there was any improvement. One thing that stuck out to me was the weird chest opening sound. While the sound may be better, they don't always fit the game. I would love to see a mod that remasters the audio of this game, but that would be a huge undertaking. This mod receives 2 Great Swords because in some places it works, but when it doesn't, you notice. Dark Souls has many weapons with different stats, and this mod seeks to help out. From editing Dark Souls files myself, I know this mod must have taken forever, but it just is not it. There are many abbreviations to try and fit the info on a single page, and even then some items don't fit on a single page. Having information in-game can be useful, but just have the Dark Souls wiki dot open in the background. This mod receives 2 Great Swords. Big issue in Dark Souls is not knowing how many souls you will receive from a soul consumable. You can obviously look it up, but this mod is an amazing quality of life improvement by adding it to the item's icon. Now I can just look at the item and know exactly how many souls it will give me. 5 Great Swords. This is a simple one as it just replaces the lock-on symbol. Instead of the weird circle, it is the dot from Bloodborne. This does not make a huge change to the game, but I enjoy this lock-on more than the original, so 4 great swords for it. This mod edited the animations of the game to reflect more modern Souls titles. Animations can be cancelled faster, and there are more iframes. I'm a Dark Souls 3 enjoyer, so I thought I would like this. Weirdly enough, I did not like it. The game just felt off. While I enjoyed the more fluid gameplay of DS3, something felt off because the game was not balanced around these animations. However, some of the more egregious attacks in this game did become dodgeable, but outside of those rare occasions it felt off. This mod only receives 2 great swords. I love this mod. The fog that rolls in when resting at the bonfire always felt too much to me. This mod replaces that with a transparent wavy effect. I enjoy the less in-your-face effect, so 5 great swords. This mod does a lot, but I can sum it up by saying it makes bonfires work more like DS3 bonfires. Every bonfire can now be warped to, and they are split into groups, making it easy to navigate the menu. Some bonfires have been renamed, but the names are a little basic. For example, Undead Parish Bonfire is now Blacksmith. This makes them easier to understand, but it's not the most creative thing. A new bonfire is also added by Oswald, so if you want to repent, you don't have to fight your way to him. In the base game, when you warp to a bonfire, that bonfire you warp to is not your respawn point unless you rest at it. This mod changes that, so warping to a bonfire will make it your respawn point. Another amazing change is defeating Gwyn does not send you right into New Game Plus. Instead, after the cutscene plays for the ending, you are brought back to Firelink. To go into New Game Plus, you have to select it from a bonfire, but first you still need to beat the game. These are all amazing changes, but let me get into the other changes that are more controversial. Warping is now available from start, so the Lord Vessel does not need to be acquired to warp. At first I did not like this, but I thought about it a little more. If it was someone's first playthrough, this would be a terrible mod, but what about for veterans? Wanting to keep that original vibe and backtracking is something that you can do by not using the warp. However, I do wish there was a version of the mod that only unlocked the warp after the Lord Vessel is obtained. The other side of this is most of us who replay Dark Souls have already gone through the game design over and over again. Being able to warp from the beginning can instead be a time saver. Not having to backtrack from an area saves so much time on replays. This can definitely be a big red flag for this mod, but there are worse features. You can reinforce Estus Flask from the bonfire, which may seem nice but eliminates firekeepers from being useful. Another thing that makes firekeepers more useless is the ability to relight their bonfires when they go out from their death. This just removes an element from the game. There's a lot of good from this mod and some bad, but at least the bad can be avoided by choice. All of this keeps the mod from 5 great swords and instead receives 4 great swords. Another mod that I absolutely love. Some things Demon Souls gets right and other things it does not. Fog gates are one thing it got spot on, and FromSoft decided not to keep it. Being able to see through the fog gate and make a choice is amazing. There are definitely some weird fog gates that cause unnecessary caution that this mod removes. Also, in Demon Runes, being at the top of the staircase and looking down to see the Demon Fire Sage waiting looks so cool. This mod can definitely be personal preference, but for me, 5 great swords. This mod is another great one. Status effects that appear under your health bar can be confusing. I use the FAP ring in my playthrough as a good example. In the base game, the ring status effect is a single yellow up arrow. Wow, very helpful. With the mod, the status effect is changed to the Ring of Favor and Protection. It does this across the board and just makes things easier to understand. Any mod that makes the game less convoluted gets 5 great swords. My goal was to make Remaster feel more like a remaster, and I would say I got close. Is it perfect? No, but that was the job of the remaster in the first place. The remaster and Prepare to Die are 2 different games and even have different mods. Prepare to Die has 3 times the amount of mods that Remaster has. If you would like to see me do this again with the original Dark Souls, leave a comment. Also, if you found this interesting, liking and subscribing is always appreciated. Thank you for wasting your time with me.